Okay, so this clip is working through some GCSE maths and numeracy past paper questions on calculating the mean of grouped data. So let's take a look. The hockey team took part in a tournament. A total of 25 players were used during the tournament. So when we're going to be using the total divided by count to work out the mean, the count is 25. It's out of 25. A record was kept of the number of goals scored by each player. A summary of this record is shown below. So we know that 7 players scored no goals, 8 players scored a goal, 4 players scored 2 goals, 3 goals each. 5 players each scored 3 goals and 1 player actually scored 4. So the mean number of goals is the total, all the goals added together, divided by the count. So the total, we know that those 7 players each scored no goals. So in total, we've got there no goals. 7 lots of nothing is nothing. Really common mistake there is to write that as 7. 8 players scored 1 goal each. So the total number of goals scored there is 1 times 8, which is 8. 4 players scored 2, so between them there were 8 goals scored, 4 times 2. 5 players each scored 3, so in total there's 15 goals there, and 1 player scored 4. So that is where we're going to work out our total from. We add those up. And we get 0 plus 8 plus 8 plus 15 plus 4 is 35. So the total divided by the count was 35 goals scored in total between 25 players. So we're going to do 35 divided by 25 is 1.4 goals. So on average, one point for each player scored 1.4 goals. Explain clearly why a player chosen at random would be more likely to have scored the modal number of goals than the mean number of goals per player. Well, the modal number of goals is the number of goals that was scored by most players, which is 1. So the modal is 1. So the question is, why is it more likely that a player is going to score 1 goal than 1.4? Well, clearly you can't score 0.4 of a goal, so it's far more likely that a player will actually score 1. So more likely to score the mode, because, and you can say because it is a whole number, or because you can't score 0.4 of a goal. Either way of arguing would be fine. Okay, so that is question 1. Question 2. 2 groups of 6 people took part in a quiz. The 6 members of group A gained the following scores: 52, 29, 78, 56, 24 and 37. So we've got the raw data for that. We can work that out just like with more straightforward questions, where we're going to add them up. So it's the total divided by the count, which is going to be 52 plus 29 plus 78 plus 56 plus 24 plus 37. Remember to press equals. It's always worth making sure you write that sum down, because if you made a mistake when you did the division, at least you're going to get the marks for having the right total over the right count. So the count in this case is 6, so divided by 6 equals 46. What was the range of the scores gained? So that's going to be the largest score, which is 78. Take away the smallest score, which is 24. So we do 78, take away 24, equals 54. The scores gained by the 6 members of Group B are summarised below. So now we've got grouped data. Sadly, my pen is bleeding through, so when I finish this question, I'll change my pen. But we've got 22, so 2 people scored 22, 2 people scored 25, 1 person scored 26, and 1 scored 28. Without doing any further calculations, state which group had the larger mean score per person. Okay, well, in Group A, the mean is 46. In Group B, the mean, the highest anybody scored was 28. So the mean, and most of them scored 22 or 25. So the mean here is going to be much lower than the mean there. Okay, so state which group had the larger mean score. That's going to be Group A, because all the Group B scores were in the 20s. So you ought to be saying something like that. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but you're basically saying, well, there's no way you're going to get a mean score any higher than 20 something in this. Which group had the larger range of scores? Well, the range in Group A we worked out was 54. In Group B, the range is, the highest score was 28, the lowest score is 28. So Group B range would be 28, take away 22, which is 6. So the larger range of scores was Group A. And the reason, we've shown the reason, because that is 6, so you don't have to say anything else. Okay, so that was question 2. So now I'm going to change my pen to something that hopefully won't bleed so much. So the table below shows the shoe sizes of 20 people. So 3 people had a shoe size of 38, 9 had a shoe size of 39, and so on. So to work out the mean, it's the total divided by the count. The count is going to be 20. So we need to work out what the total is. So 3 people had a shoe size of 38. So their total is going to be 3 lots of 38, which is 114. Then there's 9 people with a shoe size of 39. So that's going to be 9 lots of 39, which is 351. 5 with a shoe size of 40, 200. And 3 with a shoe size of 41, which is 123. So to find the total shoe size, we've got to add those up. So 114 plus 351, let's see that, can you? Plus 200 plus 123 is 788. So we're going to do 788 divided by 20, which is 39.4. So the average is going to be 39.4. So let's just check that now in the context of the table. The modal group is 39, and there's many more, or there's quite a lot more at that size than any other. So you would be expecting a mean score of about around 39. So I'm pretty happy that that's correct. Question 4. So I know this confused a couple of you. Katrin and Samir each played a game 10 times. In each game, between 1 and 5 points were scored. Katrin had a mean score of 2.7 for her 10 games, and the range of the number of points she scored in her games was 4. Samir recorded his scores as shown on the grid below. Well, let's just flip over and see what the question is. Who had the bigger mean score? So rather than putting this information in a table like this, he's recorded it on a graph. But we can turn that into a table because we know that the number of people who scored 1 point is 0. So we could say points scored and number of games. So the points scored is either going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. The number of games where 1 point was scored was none. The number of games when 2 points were scored was 2. 3 games scored 3 points. 3 games scored 4 points. And 2 games scored 5 points. So to work out the mean, we're going to do the total divided by the count. So the game was played 10 times, so the count is going to be 10. To find the total now, we're going to do no games scored 1, 2 games scored 2, 3 games scored 3 points. I don't know why I wrote 4 there, it's 3, isn't it? 3 games scored 4 points, so that's going to be 4 times 3, which is 12. And 2 games scored 5 points. So to work out the total, we're going to add those together. So we've got 0 plus 4 plus 9 plus 12 plus 10 equals 35. 35 divided by 10 is 3.5. So Samir, his mean is 3.5. Catherine's mean is 2.7. So who would the bigger mean score? Samir had the bigger mean score. You didn't actually have to calculate this now that I've seen that it's only worth 1 mark. So I'll go back and explain that now. I've just done work there you didn't need to do. You can see there that the modal point scored is 3 and 4. There are 2 modes, okay, because there were more games where 3 and 4 were scored, so the mean is going to be somewhere between 3 and 4 because there's more of those than anything else. So and we worked that out to be 3.5. So you didn't actually need to do all of that. If I'd have noticed it was only worth 1 mark there, then it would have been in the same sort of argument as we were making there with the earlier question. So all you needed to say was Samir is going to have a higher mean because most of those points, most of the games were scored between 3 and 4. Who had the bigger range of the number of points scored? Well, we know that Catherine's range was 4. Samir's range, the highest point scored was 5 and the lowest point scored was 2. So the range for Samir is 5 take away 2, which is 3. So Samir range 5 take away 2 is 3 points. So Catherine's range was 4, Samir's range was 3, so Catherine had the bigger range. Question 5. At a stall in the school fair, 32 people each paid £3 to choose a sealed envelope from a bag. So there's my count, 32. If it didn't tell me that there were 32, in order to find the count, I'd add these up because these were the number of vouchers sold. The person in charge of the stall was asked, what was the average value of the vouchers? She replied, are you asking for the mode, the median, or the mean value? Show clearly that these 3 values are different. Okay, so the mode is the number of vouchers valued the most. So the mode will be £1 because there were more £1 vouchers than anything else. The median, well, if there were 32 people, we're looking for the halfway point, so we're looking for the 16th voucher. And these are ordered, so I could write this out if I wanted. I could write £1 15 times, so I could write 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and so on, 15 times. And then once I've got 15 lots of 1, I then move in to this group and do 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 10 times. So I'm looking for the 16th. Well, the first 15 are £1 vouchers. The 16th is a £2 voucher. So the median is £2. And then the mean is the count, total divided by the count. We know the count is 32, and we know now, hopefully, that to find the total, we got 15 lots of £1, we got 10 lots of £2, we've got 5 lots of £5, and we've got 2 lots of £10. So we can add those together, and I get 20, 40, 60, 70, £80. So I've got to do 80 divided by 32, 2.5. So the mode is £1, the median is £2, and the mean is £2.50. So that's showing clearly that the three values are different. And then the final part of the question, did this store make a profit or a loss? You must calculate the amount of this profit or loss. So the money in, remember when we've looked at profit or loss questions, I've always told you to break it down into how much money is being earned. Well, in this case, it's 32 lots of £3. Because there are 32 players, each paying £3. So we've got 32 lots of £3, which is £96. So they're going to earn £96, and they are going to be spending £80 on the vouchers. So the money out is £80. So they're earning 96, they're spending 80, so there is a profit of £16. So there you go, that's the mean of grouped data, where the data in the table, the information in the table, you can read and turn into either a graph, or you know exactly how many of each value there is. Where we're going to come to next week is look at how we have to also use that method if we know that each category is in a range, so we don't have the raw data or we can't find the raw data.